lover. I cannot be called his disciple because his thousands of disciples gave their lives for Allah. It's difficult for me to give life, but I love him. I love him from the core of the heart. He is my beloved. He is just like my father. You must know that my father died on 20th March 1967. His name is written Abdul Qayyum Channa. Out of cancer, because of cancer, blood cancer. He was a great man undoubtedly. Not because he was my father, but he was a great man. And Halad's name was Hussain, but in history his name is Mansoor because of his father. So my father's name is Abdul Qayyum Channa, who was a great man undoubtedly. As a magistrate, he was an honest magistrate. As a revenue officer, he was extremely honest and brave. And he faced his death as Hazrat Ali says. He got cancer at the age of 55, 56. He never brought tears in his eyes. He told me once, my son, he loved me terribly. He said, son, I won't survive. I said, Dad, you will survive. He said, no. At the time, I was a strong communist. So one day I was saying that I will talk with the Russian embassy. I was talking with somebody. My father will be sent to Moscow. He became so angry. He said, bloody hell, why should I go to Moscow? I like to die here or live here. You are just thinking of sending to Moscow, or should I beg over people with dignity? I am a dignified man. How come you are talking like that? He overheard that. And to the last, he never uttered a word that he is going to die. You got, and blood to him is very dangerous. Whole blood gets out of our body. And on the last day, he asked for the engagement of a younger sister with my cousin. He saw that, and next day he died. And he died very painful death because all of his children were apart. Our Mushtaq was in Dhaka. And till I am concerned, I used to love him terribly, so I couldn't meet him. I don't recollect having talking with him 3 months. And my father was very much hurt that Nazir is not talking with me because I couldn't go near him. But I must have realized that he's going to die. I must talk with him. I never talked with him 3 months. So he died a painful death. He was crying, children, children, children all the time. But children were no more. He died. But 20 and 24 marked only 4 days. So I think that my spiritual father is Mansoor Halad, but my real father is Abdul Qayyum Channa. I love them both. But I give precedence to my Murshid and my father also. Because he is a person who can guide me not only in this world, but the next world also. While I think that my father can also guide me in this world, in the next world also, I need the blessings of my father and mother, definitely. Because in the Quran they are saying that you cannot condemn your father or mother even if they are non-Muslims. You cannot say R to them even. So really, I love my father, and today, that's also day. In the end, I will ask my friend Hamsi Sahib and will offer for prayers that when the prayers are held for Halad Sahib, prayers should also be held for my late father, who was an educationist. The high school at Gadikaro was opened by him, so that still bears his name. But he refused to have the name Abdul Qayyum Channa, so that high school is AC High School. From his own pocket, he opened that high school in 1962 at Gadikaro. Then he opened 3 high schools, Samaro, Trigadi and Jamsabha, when he was a student. Donations, and he used to play dramas and pay money to the school. He himself was a free boarder. Mir Ghulam Ahmad Talpur of Prando Babu, the first student were my father and 5 others. Bandari Talpur, Ghulam Haidar Shah, Ghulam Sabha Brugadi, and my father. And 5th one. So my father was a free boarder, a free lodger because he was yatim. His father, he was born, his father died, his mother died. So he had a love for education. Anyway, so we already discussed much about my father. Today we are discussing Halad. So what I am saying is this, that I want personally, and you will share with me, that the people here who are sitting, or anybody who can listen to me, or who can get the YouTube, this message the world over, that research is needed on his life. Much of his life is also has been exposed in the world, and there are manuscripts in Istanbul, in London, in British Council, and his books and manuscripts have appeared, especially 2 books, Tawasin and Diwan Halaj. Diwan Halaj are translated in English, but much before that have been translated in hundreds of languages. So that's not something important which I have done. But his Tawasin is great. What I am saying that he came to India, and he came to Sindh. He landed at Garnar. So Latif has given a poem, the Atai of Garnar mein Gulgulo machayo. Latif. So Atai means Hakim. So he landed at Garnar. So Latif eulogized his services, he came to Garnar. From Garnar, he had a meditation, and some Hindus were saying that he has come here to learn magic. As it's written in the CID diary of the Khalifa Baghdad, that he came there to learn magic from the Hindus. He says, Balad Shirk. Well, that's their interpretation. I won't say that he came here to learn magic. He came here to meet the people and to spread the message. From there he came to Jhumpir. What I'm saying that Amir Pir, if you go to Jampir, Ismaili says Amir Pir, I have conducted research, that is Mansoor Halaj. He writes Ahmad bin Muhammad at that time. Secret name, Ahmad bin Muhammad. It was not Hazrat Muhammad bin Hanifa, because Muhammad bin Hanifa died in 19 Hijri, and Halaj Sahib came to Sindh in 280 Hijri. In 19 Hijri, there was no such record of Muhammad bin Hanifa having ever come to. But due to certain reasons, perhaps the Ismailis are not interested in exposing their name. So while we leave Jampir, we come to Sakhar. There was boat system by a river. He came to Sakhar by a boat because he was arrested at Jampir and people had encircled him. There was a mandar also, a Zinda Pir mandar. So Hindus became his disciples, and they used to say he's incarnation of Allah, like Krishna, like Lord Krishna, like others. So from Zinda Pir he used to call himself Khwaja Khizr. Khwaja, because Khizr was in the historic times the Arab Khizr. So he says he is Khizr, but they had Khwaja because most of the people from Iranians and Arabs were with him. So he used to call him Khwaja Khizr. From there, again some people went around him. He came to Zahir Pir. From Zahir Pir he came to Multan. He stayed for 2 years. There was a Ismaili headquarter, Karanta. From there he went to Waziristan. From Waziristan he crossed into, now there's Khwaja Khizr mountains in Waziristan, where there was heavy fighting going on last year. That's Khwaja Khizr mountains. From there he went to Hunzar, Gilgit, and from there he went to Chinese. Huzur Pak says go to China, want to seek education. He went to modern Kazakhstan. Modern Kazakhstan. There's a capital city, Dushanbe. Near Dushanbe there's a big tower of 300 meters. So there the tower was erected. There are 4 towers in his memory. One in Dushanbe, one is in Faridpur, one is in Chadgam, and one is in Marishna, far away Sahara. So perhaps he might have gone to those places. So there are 4 such things which are there. But those are not important for us except for archaeological or historical development. What we are interested in, I feel, is this that we should have a research as to what happened about his children. He had his son, his name was Mansoor. He was also hanged. He had a daughter, Zainab, and their people were so bad they wanted to abolish her there. So others said, what the hell you are doing, a great lady, keep away from her. So they went away from her. But her family was destroyed, his family. And I went to Iran, Sarawan. I saw a place where I was told that Suli of Mansoor is there. I myself went there 9-10 years before. I had gone there for ziyarah to Imam Ali Raza at Mashhad Sharif. And before that I had been there, and I went to see Bibi Masuma at Qum Sharif. So this time I took a visa for visit to Mashhad. But at Zahedan, some Baloch they met me, and they were very strange people. But they said we are Baloch and we also know Sindhi, and you be our guest. So I went with them to Saravan. There I saw, there was a big storm. I was going to die, but I was saved. There I saw a big cave. There were some old shrubs and trees, and these Balochis were telling me, don't touch them ever. If you touch them, you'll die. I said, why? They said, this is a suli, and this is a big, you see of iron, this wood, this log, and there's a blood in it. If you touch it, you'll die. And since 1,000 years, nobody has touched it. Nobody dares to go near them. I said, I will go, I will go. It's Mansoor's. At the time, I was not loving Mansoor much, but just, I don't know what happened. I ran to that place, to that. As I was going there, there was explosions on 4 sides. Da, 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 such explosions like atom bomb. So the Baloch was saying, Aslam Baloch, please Nazir, come back, you will die. I said, no, I will go. So I just went there. I couldn't touch that thing, but I just put a hand on it and came back. So that was the, then I went to do research as to how that Suli came there. So I think that I read in history that after his death, his head was kept there burned, but that Suli was sent to Balochistan, Iran, because there were a lot of murids of Halaj in Turkestan and Khurasan. So they wanted to parade that Suli and tell them that your Murshid is no more alive. And there was also blood red things on there. So those Balochis, the local people, they have kept it alive, that thing, intact, out of love for Halaj. So that is there. Anyway, but these things need research, further research. Maybe my research may not be that competent, because I don't think that I am a research scholar as well. I am a writer undoubtedly, but I don't claim any authenticity of a scholarship. But I think that we should love Halaj, and we love him. I must tell you one thing, my point of view, maybe people may not agree. I am not a nationalist. I am not a racialist. Nazir Jinnah is not a nationalist. I am not a nationalist. I don't belong to any Jinnah tribe or any tribe of Sindh or Balochistan. or of this subcontinent. I am a universal. I don't believe in these things. I believe in man, unity of man. I am a man, that's it. As a man, I love humanity. And I love the symbols of humanity, and that there I don't discriminate. These things I am against. I am against discrimination on the basis of caste, color, culture, race, religion. I believe in the unity of the man, and I believe in the unity of opposites as well. When I study dialectics, I see unity of opposites. Thesis, antithesis, and then comes synthesis. When there is synthesis, there is a synthesis of the whole. It's a symmetry. That's a historical development that has to be understood. People should not take me now as a Marxist, no. But I will accept the Marxist point of view from the economic point of view, from the social point of view, from historical point of view. Yes, why not? I will not agree philosophically, because today I believe in God. I believe in the unity, Tawheed. I believe in Allah, that He is the Rahman, the Creator, and I believe in the Prophet of Islam, that is a prophet. He is a chain succession of all those prophets. And I believe in awliyas, walis. We have got today Sajjal, Latif and Bedel Bekas, but they are a succession of the chains. And I believe in this, that every man can be awliya. He can be a friend of Allah, provided he believes in truth, provided his life is an example of beauty and truth. And I don't think that I believe only in miracles, that only Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or only select people can be wali. I believe they are select people. They are wali and prophets. But if you follow their examples, you can also become part of the light. Light, eternal light is not fixed for few people. For people of one blood race, I don't believe. I don't believe in Islam there is any provision for caste, color or creed. If that would have been so, Bilal would not have been he would not have been the Muazzin. His voice was the best, and he was a great man. He was a Negro, slave, but he was. Prophet selected as a Zayd bin Harith as a son, who was a slave. He gave his cousin and wedlock to him, which never worked, and he married with that lady. But he believed equally. When Fatah Makkah, on the camel, that Hazrat Zayd was with him, and there's a surah in Quran, Hazrat Zayd, and Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq was a friend, greatest friend of the Prophet, and he gave his very young daughter Aisha Bibi, who was only 13 or 14, the Prophet was 54, 55. That was his great love for the Prophet. The Prophet accepted a lady, Khadija Bibi, who was much senior to him, and a Bibi was much younger to him, and a number of wives, you see, and he gave them justice and equity. At a society where girls were being buried alive, there the Prophet never married from his family. He had no cousin from whom he could marry. He had many cousins. Even as Abu Talib had a daughter, but he never married from the family. He married outside. So he believed in equality. If he had believed in caste, he would have married in his family. He gave his daughter to Hazrat Usman, two of his daughters, one after another, Zul and Nur, and in succession. Even Hazrat Umar sought the hand of Bibi Fatima, but Bibi Fatima, perhaps she remained silent. She never agreed. She agreed with Ali, the Prophet agreed. But everybody had the right in Islam, because there's no caste, color and creed. So, and in the Huzur, in the last khutbah, he said that he is bequeathing a legacy. That's Quran, and he says that henceforth no Ajami is superior than Arabi, and no Arabi is superior than Ajami. All are equal before Allah. Once one lady, there was some case of theft. So Prophet said, even if Fatima commits the steals, I'll cut her hands. Although Fatima could never have done that. But this shows the justice and equality of Islam as given by the Prophet. So our Sufis, you see, they are working on the same platform. But the difference of the Sufi and the Sharia is this, what I feel is this, that Sufi, he looks more inwardly. He looks inwardly. Sufi is more spontaneous. He exclaims in spontaneity. As Bayezid said, lo, Subhani, Ma Subhani, Subhani, God is in my sleeves. So people are saying, what the hell he is saying? God is in his sleeves. He said, yes, he is in my sleeves. He said, Subhan is within me. So when a Sufi says, you shouldn't take ill of it, or take, as Latif says, Akharan mein chadya, Hussain Sufi says, Akharan mein chadya, Akharan mein chadya, that sort of a thing. So you don't have to go by the word literal. You have to go by the essence. A Sufi goes by essence. Sufi goes by essence. Junaid Baghdadi, Bayezid, they went by the crux, by the essence, and they go by divinity. A Sufi believes in divine truth. Sufi is not near to shirk. Sufi is away from shirk. Sufi accepts only Allah. He loves Allah. Ghazanavi Mahmud, when he went to Somnath, So he had went many times, 17 conquests. So he said that this time he failed. He sent a message to Hazrat Khurkani, Abul Hassan. Khurkani Sahib, his name was only Abul Hassan, no Khurkani at that time. Pray for me. Khurkani Sahib gave him a khurka. Khurka means a chadar. And he said, when you go to the war, take that chadar. In Somnath there was heavy fighting. And they were afraid that he might be defeated. He put the khurka. It's a coincidence or whatever. I'll just narrate to you. He won the victory. When he came back, so he wrote a letter to Hazrat Sultan Abul Hassan Khurkani, the Sarkar, I want to have come for ziyarat to you. But I am a sultan, I am a king of the world, and you are a Sufi king of the inner world. If a king goes to a king must receive him. So can you come out of the kutia and receive me outside? Abul Hassan said, no. Fakir cannot come out of the kutia. I am the king of the entire world. How can I receive you ordinary king of this world? No. Fakir will be in his kutia. If you come, you come. If you don't come, you don't. So Ghaznavi went there. But Ghaznavi was there and disturbed because he was a very egoist person. He was a king. Even today's presidents are so strong as that king was a great, powerful. So when he went to him, he asked him a question. He said, Abul Hassan Sahib, Sarkar, you are my Murshid. I've heard you are telling people that if we see you, so we have got a barakah. He said, yes, yes. He said, but Abu Lahab was the uncle of the Prophet of Islam, and Abu Lahab couldn't get the barakah, while we get the barakah out of you. That means, are you superior than the Prophet of Islam? This was a straight question. Abul Hassan Kharkani said, look Mahmud, you are a malafide. Your heart is very small. Your understanding is small, you won't understand these things. He said, no sir, I seek reply. He said, I am not afraid of reply. He said, we have not reached even the God. Abul Hassan said, Sahin, how can I discuss the Prophet? I am still on the way to God. And in any case, Mahmud Ghaznavi was disturbed, he went away. Because Mahmud was of a short vision. I must tell you that when Ferdowsi met him, so Mahmud told Ferdowsi, that Ferdowsi, you are a great poet, epic poet, write poems about me. He said, all right, how much you charge? He said, 1 dirham, 1 dinar for every such stanza. He said, okay, but he was a miser, Mahmud of Ghazana. So when he wrote 60,000 quarter rates or something, so he sent 60,000 dirhams. So he became very angry, Ferdowsi. He said, the king is a king, but his mother was a Khanis or a slave girl. So he behaves not like a king, he behaves like a nasty person. So when Mahmud heard about it, he was very sad. He sent 60,000 dinars. When dinars reached that place, so the body of Ferdowsi was going outside. And Ferdowsi had written his will that I don't need any money from the king. So his daughter said, we don't need your money. The king is very nasty, he is a stingy person. So this is what I am telling you. Because Mahmud of Ghazana could not understand, although he had conquered Somnath, but in his heart, the Somnath was sitting in his heart, he could not capture that Somnath. The Somnath, the God is within your heart. If you have to see God, you have to seek it. Yesterday, I was one of the speakers at the 23rd March program at PTV National. It was a very extensive program, 2.5 hours. It was very long. So I also got exhausted talking of GM Said, Sheikh Majid Sindhi, Abdullah Harun, Bahadur Yarjan, and so many others. Morar Bashani, Fazal Lab, so many. I got tired of 2 hours. How much more can I talk about history? So that Shazia, she was the compare. She said, now Jana Sahib will ask from you the message. What's the message? What message you give? I said, I have got a message. She said, what's that? You transmit. My message was this. I said, PTV National is not very popular program. People don't watch it. But out of lakhs of people, if only 2 people listen to me and they follow it, I am sure we can revolutionize the Pakistani society. What was that words? I said, first, don't speak lie. Number 2, speak the truth. Number 3, don't ever indulge in corrupt practices. Number 4, don't abuse people at the back. And revolutionize yourself and seek honesty within you. If you 1% become honest, our society will become honest. So I felt my burden was lifted. So again, I was counter question. I said, I'm 66 years now. I had a very checkered history, political, cultural, literary. I've gone through so many things, which many people have not gone. I know those leaders of Pakistan movement, Sheikh Majid Sindhi, GM Said, Morana Bhashani, all. So I have been close to them, Mir Laq Ali Khan. Nobody in Pakistan today has so much contacts with the historical perspective. But I am happy that I am not a corrupt person. I can say proudly. In my whole life, I have never ever taken a rupee out of any political or any social reason. My honesty is above all. I present myself. So when I present myself, I have the right to say. If I am a corrupt man, I have no right to say people be honest. Because I think that I am trying to follow the example of the Sufis. And God has saved me. This is not a proud privilege. I am a very poor person, a very modest person. But I want to convey this message to all and sundry. That keep away from Shia Sunni, keep away from Sindhi Muhajir, Sindhi Punjabi, keep away from Hindu-Muslim disunity. He is a Christian, he is a Hindu, he is a sweeper, he is a great man, he is a rich man. Yet he has no money. I said that Hazrat Prophet Muhammad Mustafa said, if you put a sun on this hand, you put a moon on this hand. Ahmad Mustafa can never betray the trust. He will never speak the lie. He will stand for truth and justice. So this is the message which I believe in. And this is not what Nazir Salam says, this is a message every Sufi has to say. This is not sufficient, I must tell you, that have a, you see, Astana, Astane mein bhi ho, ya Astane mein baithe, और अल्लाह का माला जपे या खाली कलाम गाएं शाह लतीफ़ का या सचल का, उससे क्या होता है? ये तो पार्ट ऑफ कल्चर है ना. दिस इज जस्ट स्ट्रेंथनिंग योरसेल्फ. नहीं, सूफी का इससे नहीं है वास्ता. सूफी का वास्ता है कि हार्ट में क्या है. डू यू बियर गोज मेलाइज अगेंस्ट एनीबडी? इफ यू गॉट मेलाइज अगेंस्ट पीपल whom you hate, then you are not a Sufi. A Sufi shouldn't. Sometimes I have to take difficult decisions. I won't tell you what decision, but there are certain decisions which are very difficult. I am an egoist also, an egocentrist. Such a decision was being taken some time back on a very important issue which I will not discuss here. But I said no, nothing. I must crush my ego. I must follow, not my ego. I must follow what is true and just. What I already decided must go through. My ego should not come in the way of truth and justice. Everybody is free to follow his creed. As Jinnah Sahib said on 11th August, you are free to go to temples or to mosques or any places. But state has got nothing to do with your, religion or your way of life. By this I don't mean to say that I go for secularism. I want to make it very clear. I think Jinnah is a liberal person, as a Democrat. Secularism is something different. I am not propagating secularist philosophy by saying this. I am a Sufi, I am a lover of Allah, but secularism is a political concept. It has to be discussed in a different context.